So the interns here at Rutgers, New Brunswick are awesome because they're usually younger and they really relate to us, and we really enjoy their company because as a student there's so much pressure and anxieties that you have to deal with on a daily basis, and it's just so nice to have someone who's been through them and like kind of will relate to you on like a spiritual level. And also like the interns are, and from my personal experience, are the ones who have got me involved in CSA my freshman year, and it was just such a blessing because I wasn't intimidated at all because Erica, our intern, our wonderful intern, just really connected to me on a personal level, and you know she really knew I was going through as a student, and she understands like what I was going through and like can really relate. So they've been such a blessing because um, honestly the students really wouldn't be the same without them, because we really need that extra oomph to get us through the week, and with the pressures of college and the temptation and everything, it's just so nice to have someone to talk to and be there for us.
The interns are great blessings, I think, because they know what it's like to be students, and they know the pressures and the anxieties and just the things that the students deal with, and they're able to help us through that and kind of relate to us in that way, and show us really what it means to, even though we're students, to live lives for God and live lives of service and do great things on campus and serve in our ministries while balancing schoolwork and everything else that we have going on.
So, what do I love about the interns here? They're awesome. Everything about them, they're just so relatable to us as college students, since they themselves just got out of college, just finished. And the way that they give their lives in service to the Lord, they give up everything maybe and just come here, come to Rutgers, come to New Jersey, and just live to serve and to reach out. And I remember when Erica first reached out to me and we got together for lunch, or even now we get together for dinner or coffee or bubble tea, because bubble tea is awesome. It made me feel really good, really special. Like, why did she want to talk to me? And she just wanted to get to know me. She wanted to reach out and extend a hand, like the Lord's hand to me, to come around CSA, to take steps further in my leadership development. So the interns are awesome. And the guys too. Guys, you're awesome. But I've gotten to know Erica a lot. So yeah, love interns. Woo!
Okay, I've always been on. So interns are definitely really important to CSA. Definitely because, interns, they're only a few years older than us, maybe a year, maybe two. And they're students who've been in our same shoes. And it's always great to get that perspective. Chaplains are always awesome, but to get someone who, experienced it only a year or two ago, that's very, very powerful. And, the interns, they all do such a great job, always getting together, always willing to extend a hand out to evangelize to us veterans, or even to the newer people. They're such a resource. Especially, I could say, the male interns this year have been so wonderful. It's always nice to have another guy out there to, to rely on, to, look up to, and both of them, both Josh and Mike, they approach evangelism a little differently, but they both have great methods, and, it's all about just reaching out, and both of them do an excellent job of that.
That's a great question, actually. So, well, I think just looking at what I had done in CSU and what really gave me the motivation and the zeal to be involved in CSU, I think part of it was just understanding the Lord's love for me and my life, and then seeing how I could give that to others. So I saw myself doing that a bit at CSU, but I was limited because I was a student. As a college kid, I had midterms, finals. Now, my majors weren't a big deal, but I still had time taken up by academics and other areas of college life responsibility. So there's a way in which Bro Clinton brought up the idea sometime like in September of my senior year and said, hey, you should totally consider this internship. I was like, oh, we'll see. And they kind of never really talked about it. And then finally, like in November, he brought up once more and said, like, hey, just this is the last time I'm going to bring it up. I'm not going to bring it up anymore after this. So from now on, it's your initiative, your turn to talk about this. I was like, okay, cool. So we kind of tabled that for the next few months until maybe like late February, early March, when I applied for Teach America, got in, and I realized that even though I had been avoiding this whole internship idea, that in the heart of my hearts, I was still interested in wanting to go and serve for a year, whether it was at Rutgers or Boston, and giving a year of my life to kind of lead others to Christ through my witness, through my example, or just by befriending them. And so I had like a discernment period where I pretty much struggled with like Teach America or the internship. And finally, through the grace of God, I ended up getting a deferral for a year for Teach America to come do the internship. So in a way, it was more a sense of trusting the Lord's will for my life and realizing that His love for me is something that I have to share with other people. And so in a way, I decided to do this internship because of, well, one, for the Clintons push, but also because I wanted to share that love that the Lord had for me with others.
Well, I think there was a couple different components of it. There were a bunch of different women who came down to Florida State to be interns, and they really impacted my life. And I think it wasn't until I saw them that I finally saw what it looked like to be a woman who was radically following after Christ. And it was some of their first encouragements that got me thinking about it. But then I just realized a desire in my own heart to really share what God had done in my life, and I wanted to share that with students at other campuses.
My first retreat with the Northeastern Catholic Center last October, and it was an incredibly transforming experience, incredibly blessed, and the Lord was able to really touch my life in a way that I had never experienced before. And I just came out of that recognizing just how amazing it was to have people that surrounded you that could help provide that kind of environment, especially the brothers and the interns. And I just had this deep gratitude for everything that the Brotherhood and the community had done for me. And when getting closer to graduation, I really started to think about what I might want to do, and I wanted to give back. I wanted to be able to make an impact on the lives of some other ones, some of the newer students, so that they wouldn't have to wait for 4 years before finding this kind of place like I did, so they could just get that support and that love from friends and from support from the chaplains right off the bat when they got to school. And if I could be that one guy who would be able to, that God could use as a vessel to bring forth His love to a new community and to bring just one person closer to Him, that's really why I wanted to get into this position.
Oh yeah, a lot of different challenges. Well, I was definitely scared. I think that was the biggest thing because I knew I wanted to be an intern for a long time, but I guess it was kind of daunting to me to go from some place where I felt like I was really well known and the staff there knew me. I had friends there, to go to a completely different place and expect to be a leader, and that just really scared me, and I don't like change. So that fear, even though I was really sure that this is what God wanted for me, a way for me to serve, I was really just scared about being received by students, how I was going to fit into the community. And then also, my family was supportive, but I guess they weren't too sure of exactly what would be involved. So I think they were very skeptical because I had just graduated with a bachelor's degree and I wasn't going straight into a job per se, and I was going to have to fundraise my money. So I think it was just kind of strange. I don't think they were against it, but just kind of a strange notion. So those, like the fear and then just kind of my family's perception of what this would be, were definitely some obstacles that I had to work through and talk to them about and bring to God these different fears that I had. So
Some challenges I had to overcome. One of the main ones being the Teach for America one, but that one got resolved with the deferral. I think in a way my parents were both initially opposed to me coming here to do this, only because, I mean, as Hispanics, they immigrated here, and so their lives kind of were built on just luck and trying to do what they could. So they always wanted me to have a better future, to do more with my life. And so to them, this internship was kind of something that was holding me back for a year, almost like a waste of time. And I could see their viewpoint, and I could agree with it to a certain extent. But I think as Teach for America stuff got resolved, they fell more in line, and so once they got in line, it was kind of easier from there. The finances kind of fell in afterwards also, and I was very blessed by many generous donors, but I think the main fear I had was, am I giving up a year of my life that's not going to mean anything? And I can use this year to start advancing in my career, start doing something else, and not just weigh myself down. And so in a way, it was kind of trusting the Lord and saying, like, Lord, even though I'm giving up this year, you still have more for me afterwards. And it's not like, it's not trying to follow my own plan, but trying to follow the Lord's will for my life instead. So that's something I had to overcome, realizing that I had to let go of my own plans and instead trust the Lord's plans.
I don't think there weren't really many challenges. The biggest one was just thinking about the financial, because with loans coming due this November, I had to make sure that I could defer them off a year while I did this year of service, and then also make sure that I could fundraise for myself to support properly when I was here. So those were brief challenges, and the parent aspect kind of went along with the money one. My mother was completely fine with it, but my dad, being very practical, he wanted to make sure that the money stuff would be in order. So once we were able to get clear of that, my parents have been incredibly supportive of this. Really happy for me that I'm doing something that I really feel that God's called me to do at this present time in my life. And just, so, I guess no, after the money, no real challenges. From what I've seen so far, it definitely forces you to grow up in a lot of ways very quickly, because we're all growing, we're all novices, we're all trying to learn in our faith and to grow deeper in our relationship with Christ. But when you're looking at it, it's all of a sudden, well, I'm not the center of this. I'm responsible for taking care and reaching out to these other students who may not have a relationship at all. But it's through those things that you can also learn a lot from the students that you're reaching out to. You can kind of see virtues that they have that you are fostering in your own life, and you can see that back and forth of someone learning from something that you've already overcome or that you are working at in your own faith life. So it's just a great way to both mature in your faith and to really take ownership of maturing as a man, as a person in the eyes of God, to really stand strong and to be that person, to go to the next level, not just going through being faithful in your own journey, but reaching out, getting out of yourself, and through that act of charity, helping others in their journey.
Wow. Well, I feel like I can't say enough about how this has challenged me. I think this is the best, hardest thing I've ever done in my life so far. And I love it, not because it's really easy, but because it's very challenging, and it calls me on as a woman. It calls me on as a disciple. It calls me to say yes to him. It calls me to really go deeper in my faith. But it has brought me closer to knowing the Lord's heart, and I feel like that's how it's helped me. It has been, and it is helping me grow into the woman that I think God desires for me to be, and that I am, because I came here to really serve, and okay, I'm going to give myself, and it's true, I am able to give, but I also have gotten such a gift back in return, because I get to see how I get to watch people fall in love with God, and that has called me on to just experience God's love for people in a deeper way that it's very hard to describe, but it's such a real gift and a privilege to walk with that person as they discover how God loves them. So, and it's just given me a glimpse, just a small glimpse into the Lord's heart.
I think first and foremost, since I'm in New Jersey, it calls for deeper conversion to begin with. But in a special way, I think it's just the fact that it's a different culture, a different mindset, a new ministry. And while some of the things are still similar, it's very new at the same time. And so in a way, trusting the Lord completely, because I've experienced so much weaknesses here. At Florida State, it was so much simpler. There was so much credibility that I had, more experience in that type of ministry. But then once I came here, I was kind of like, whoa, just dropped completely. And so in a way, I really experienced a lot of weakness and struggles, and I think that's the moment where I clung to the Lord the most. And I think in clinging to Him and holding on to Him and trusting Him, I grew more in strength. And it was His strength that He gave me. And so one of the ways in which, like I said, I've just come to experience a deeper conversion and a deeper sense of a better relationship with the Lord is by trusting Him more. Because I hate taking that leap of faith, but this year it's definitely encouraging me this year to take a leap of faith, because every single time I do something, whether it's meet a new student on one of the campuses, or riding on a bus, or talking to some random stranger, or tabling, it's all the Lord. It's the Lord using me as a vessel to work through. And in a way, it's just even living with the brothers long term, the schedule, the life. It's called me to be more disciplined and just more faithful to the Lord in prayer, in charity, in different virtues, and in just living community life with my fellow brothers. So, fellow intern and associates in the Brotherhood of Hope. So, in a way, it's definitely helped me grow a lot in many areas of my life, but mainly faithfulness, discipline, and trust in the Lord. I think the toughest part for me has been the transition at first. Just realizing that sometimes I felt like I was alone here. I didn't have my supportive friends, the brothers that were familiar from back at Florida State, or even in a sense, just that confidence from being president, or having all that prestige and credibility from Florida State, and coming here and kind of having to restart all over again. So building new relationships with certain people, the core people here, and then newer people, and trying to say like who's new, who's not. You know, hey Josh, good to meet you today. Are you a freshman? No, actually, I'm actually one of the interns. And so like realizing that, like, wow, it's like I have to build up on so many different levels, and it was definitely tough, and it still is tough at times. And like I said, it's all about trusting the Lord, and I think that for me, it's realizing that everyone here is for me as well. And even though we don't have the most concrete of relationships, since it's only been about 2 months, there's still a way in which I know that all the bros here, the chaplains, the fellow interns, the students here, that they're all for me, and that they all want to see me succeed, and they want to see me reach out to other people, and they want to see the Lord transform my life as I want to see the Lord transform their lives as well.
I think the toughest part so far has been really kind of like finding your place. It's all of a sudden you're not a student anymore, so you're not there to be served. You're there to serve, but there's still an element that you do need to be served in certain ways. So it's in finding that balance of I want to outreach to this community. I also want to become a friend to these people, a real friend, because that's so important. But it's about finding what that balance is, because you are also staff, and there has to be a certain level of boundary, because working with students all week, you can get burnt out quickly. And it's important to try to find that time off so that you can yourself be recharged by the life-giving relationships that you have in your life, and through just kind of like that day retreat, just to unplug and to just pray and to be with God and to be with friends who you're not there working with. So that's been the biggest struggle so far, just really finding your place and getting your feet on the ground to something solid.
So the hardest part, one of the hardest things about being an intern, I think, kind of involves the mission, and where you really pour out your heart for someone, and you really spend a lot of time with them, and you do everything right. You follow the handbook, you get everything right, and you really give yourself. But still, maybe in the end, they choose to kind of walk away from God, or they say no to what you're proposing. And I think that's really, really hard. It's hard to watch somebody walk away from life in Christ, because you know how great it is and the joy that you experience in that. But sometimes people say no, and I think sometimes you can start to ask yourself, did I do something wrong? Could I have done more? And I think the challenge comes in knowing that you've given everything, and that it's still people's free choice to say yes or no to God.
The most blessed part has just been when you kind of see the connections that you're making with people. I got to give a talk a few weeks back on finding real and authentic friendships in Christ, and how to find them, searching for the love of one another, coming into college and not wanting to change who you are to make someone happy. And I was encouraged, because after giving that talk and that witness of my own life, to have people come up to me after and say, hey, I could really relate to that. That made an impact on me. And to see that kind of effect already taking place, that and in one-on-one meetings that I've had, and reaching out to someone who a month ago was not involved at all and now might be altar serving or playing drums at one of the masses, it's really cool to see like how quickly some guys can get up to speed and get plugged into the community. And at the same time, it's rewarding to see like that you might also be the only connection for some guys to the Catholic Center, and just always kind of serving as that bridge where if they want to get involved one day, they have an outlet to go through.
The most blessed part has been meeting with many different types of students from so many different types of backgrounds. Like, I've met so many great guys, guys I would never have met if I hadn't decided to come here. And these are men who have potential to be leaders in their fields of study or even in the church. And being able to just be their only link to the Catholic Center here. And it's such a blessing, such a privilege, and such a grace and honor to be able to just realize that the Lord's really saying, like, Josh, I'm using you to reach out to these men. And I'm using you to be a link for men who have no other link to this area, to this relationship with me. So it's a very humbling thing where I do feel blessed that I'm able to just be a part of their lives and encourage them, pray with them, talk to them about their faith life, talk to them about school, talk to them about anything, and just being able to, in the end, bring it all back to God, just realize that there's more out there for them than just this world, and that I get to be a big part of their lives and their transformations. And that's a blessing, because you can't ever ask for more than being able to transform someone's life, because that's such a beautiful thing to experience.
I guess it goes back in the most blessed part about being an intern kind of goes back into how has being an intern helped you grow and challenge you. I think it just goes right back to that, because the best part is like watching someone say yes to God and being a part of that, because that's just like, wow, what greater gift is there than that, to walk with somebody and learn about their life and where they've been, and to walk with them and sit with them and be with them as they're struggling and wrestling with maybe past things or maybe conceptions they have about God. And it's like the best seat in town, like to watch somebody realize that God is sold out for love for them. So I think it's just such a gift. I think that's the best part, is the privilege that it is to be able to walk with someone wherever they are, to find out that there's a God who loves them. I met this girl when in my first couple of weeks of trying to get in contact with people, and she had tried to kind of come around the Catholic Center the year before, but never really felt a connection, and I guess she had put her name on one of the mass cards, so I came to contact her, and it was great. We really hit it off right away, and I felt like, we were people who knew each other for a long time, but we're just meeting. And it started out really just casual. We were just kind of shooting the breeze, talking about anything and everything. And then slowly, as she started coming to more spirit nights, started coming to women's group, we kind of just started talking about what it is that we were talking about. And she kind of realized she was just kind of, it wasn't that she was against the church. It wasn't that she was really, I guess, all for God either. But she was somewhere in between and really indifferent, and had kind of lived her life like that for a really long time. And she wasn't too sure what she wanted to do about that, but knew that where she was, this kind of indifferent, lukewarm stage, wasn't enough. So I really encouraged her. I was about the time of the fall retreat, really encouraged her to go on the fall retreat. She was very nervous about that, and just because she had never been on a retreat before. And God just really powerfully spoke into that area of her life. And I think what's so powerful about this story is, even after that, we would keep meeting. We started meeting on a regular basis, and she just exploded with all these questions that I guess she never had before, because she's kind of just always indifferent, never really asked many questions, wasn't getting too involved in her faith or in the church, and she just started exploding with questions. It was so great to meet with her, because she was just really seeking God, really seeking answers to all these questions, and obviously then attended the spring retreat. and also went to a conference on evangelization, and now is somebody who is so very on fire for her faith and is so wanting to share that with other people. So it's beautiful, like, to just see where she was last year and now how she is really growing, not only in her faith but also her desire to share with other people. So it's just awesome to be a part of that and watch God take someone who, hey, maybe wasn't really sure where they wanted to be, and just really take hold of their heart and set it on fire with a desire to share it with other people. So it was really a cool doesn't even describe it, but a real gift to be a part of it.
This one, I think, is still kind of in the works. It was last week. The student had come in and he was looking for a proper translation of the Bible. And Erica introduced me to him, and he and I sat down and we talked a little bit about the Bible and like why he wanted to get more interested or find more information about Catholicism. He started to see that it was everywhere, like throughout history and all the outreach that the Catholic Church does, being the biggest charitable organization in the world, from one standpoint, and just like noticing why everyone was just so happy and joyous in this place. And he came in. He wasn't Catholic. He was actually Hindu, but he just had so many questions about the church and about the Bible and where do I start reading, and he asked me to share my witness with him because he was interested. Why is this so important in your life? And it was really cool because I could see that thirst for knowledge that was in him, and it's an ongoing story. But he wanted to go to Mass. He wants to check out like what the Catholic Church is all about, and he told me he's not looking for conversion, but he is seeking, and that's a really cool thing to see. Someone who's not Christian in any way, but recognizing that, hey, there's something powerful here. There's something more than meets the eye, and to see that kind of interest and to participate in answering some of his questions and bringing just a little taste of the gospel and some of God's love to him was really rewarding experience.
He's kind of plugged in really nicely, but at the same time, he still has a lot of fears and doubts. And it's really cool to see how we just started grabbing time together and started talking. Maybe like after spirit night, grabbing some frozen yogurt, or just doing different things, kind of like on off times, and seeing him trust me and tell me things that he was like, yeah, Josh, I'm going to tell you this, but no one else knows, so please don't say anything. But like, so-and-so, this is happening in my life, or so-and-so is struggling with this, or I'm struggling with this. And seeing how he completely trusts me, and it's always it means a lot to me when someone can say they trust me. Because I know in my own life, I find it difficult to trust people, and even in my relationship with the Lord, it's so difficult to trust him at times, because he's not tangible. But to see a man lay out his heart before me encourages me and gives me a way of being able to reflect that same trust in the Lord, but also being able to share my love with him. And so this one particular student, he's definitely blessed me in many ways just by sharing his life, being open, and telling me that I'm one of his best friends here. And it's a privilege, it's an honor, and I can't ask for anything more than that. There's no greater joy than to lay down my life for a fellow brother. So